Very, very exciting news from the world of Godzilla. The official Godzilla Twitter page, it's now all over the web, has now confirmed that the next Godzilla Toho film is in production. Well, not in production, it's been greenlit for production. And it's going to be directed and written by the man who wrote and directed the critically acclaimed Academy Award winning Best Movie of 2023, Godzilla Minus One, and will be a sequel. Let's look at this beautiful, beautiful announcement right now. VFX written and directed by Takashi Yamazaki. So the story of Godzilla Minus One is going to continue. We now know this for certain. We now have confirmation. It's been rumored for a while, but it's coming. Yes, and I have more to say on this. So I was trying to find the post where Takashi Yamazaki said that he wanted to maybe make a new version of Godzilla Raids Again, which I don't think that's a good idea to do it just like that, but I do trust him. I could see him kind of taking and borrowing ideas from the different Godzilla films to make his new one because, of course, Godzilla Minus One borrows a ton of ideas from GMK. And if you haven't seen GMK yet, you probably wouldn't know that, but a lot of stuff, like that film inspired a lot of what Minus One did. So I wanted to comment on this real quick from Kaiju number 14, who revealed that Takashi Yamazaki is interested in using Hollywood actors for his next film. If you know any A-list talent who love Godzilla so much they do it for 1/5 their normal rate, let me know. I don't know why that made me laugh, but having some A-list actors, because remember, when he was in America, when Minus One was getting all that hype, especially during the Academy Awards, he was talking to a lot of people. He got to meet Harrison Ford. He got to meet Steven Spielberg, people who he grew up watching in Japan as a kid. He even referred to like Spielberg as like filmmaking god, because remember, Jaws and Close Encounters were the two movies that really inspired him to make films. That's what got him into special effects, and he became a writer-director after that. So having some A-list actors from America is kind of exciting, especially if in Godzilla Minus One sequel, it ends up getting America involved. Because remember, in the first Minus One film, they couldn't actually have America, the story of the film, America could not get involved in helping Japan with the Godzilla problem because of the Cold War, because Russia was, they would have seen it as possibly being aggressive movements by the American military, and the Cold War tensions were really high during that time. So the Japanese were sort of left on their own for that, which is somewhat accurate to what really happened. However, with this new film, if there's a time skip, then perhaps that could lead to a situation where now America and maybe even Russia has to get involved if Godzilla were to be the threat or some other kaiju. So it's going to be tough, because the thing about Godzilla Minus One is that Godzilla Minus One is a lot like Joker. It doesn't need a sequel. The ending of both films are very ominous and very dark, right? Even though Godzilla Minus One certainly has a lot more of a happy ending to a degree, but it doesn't need a sequel, right? It can live on its own. And making a sequel could be dangerous. And I don't think Takashi Yamazaki is going to end up like Todd Phillips, but I do think that it's interesting, very interesting in fact, that he's got some idea. He has to have an idea, otherwise he wouldn't have approved it, to make a sequel. Is the sequel going to be as good as Minus One? That's a very, very high bar, because Minus One hit on emotions that almost no other Godzilla film has ever touched on, including the original. And that came the closest. So it's going to be interesting. If he's got an idea for a sequel, Will it have another kaiju? Will it be a monster battle? Or will it be just more of this evil Godzilla putting himself back together, regenerating, and wreaking havoc over Japan or maybe even other parts of the world? That is going to be very interesting. Although I will say this, I can totally see some American A-list actors being in the film and having it be a bigger movie. You could easily have an A-list actor come in and play like a military general from America who goes to Japan. They could even do a sequence where Godzilla actually shows up in California, or something like that, or Hawaii or something like that. There's a lot of things they could do to kind of freshen things up. Because you have to understand, with most Godzilla films from Toho, this is not including the Legendary Pictures, this is the Toho films, they usually don't even include America. They usually just have Japan dealing with Godzilla. You'll have some American actors in a few of them, for sure. I mean, it's happened. But the story is usually about how Japan deals with it. However, for a sequel, wouldn't it make more sense if Godzilla became like a worldwide threat? That would be scary. Anyways, man, let me know in the comments what you want to see from this film. Do you want it to be Godzilla as the villain? Do you want Mothra or somebody else to be the hero? Or do you want Godzilla to be a hero in this one? And how can they tell the story of a sequel? Because, to be honest, there's ideas that you can come up with that's been done before. But Godzilla Minus One, I hold that film in such high esteem that I don't know how you could follow that one up. But I guess we'll find out soon because the sequel is coming. Take care.